The Ku Klux Klan is a hidden organization that has changed throughout history, but still stays true to its core beliefs and traditions, and is still very active today. I will talk about how the KKK emerged in 1865, re-emerged in the 1920s, and again in the 60s. First, the Ku Klux Klan was formed in 1865 after the Civil War in Tennessee in the room you see here. The men in the room argued about what their name would be. They wanted it to be meaningful yet mysterious, and something that you could interpret easily and know what they were about. Their name turned into Ku Klux, which is absolutely meaningless but adds enough mystery to grab attention to outsiders and potential new members. According to CivilWar.org, Nathan Bedford Forrest was a prominent figure in the foundation of the Ku Klux Klan. He was the Grand Wizard until he ordered the dissolution of the organization in 1869. The Ku Klux Klan functioned as a loosely organized group of political and social terrorists. The Klan's goals included the political defeat of the Republican Party and the maintenance of absolute white supremacy in response to newly gained civil and political rights by Southern blacks after the Civil War. They were more successful in achieving their political goals than they were their social goals during the Reconstruction era. During this time, the KKK is seen to be a mildly shadowed organization, according to our class, because they wanted people to know who the KKK was and what their intentions were. Even in the 1800s, this was a very recognized organization. The members, however, were silent, meaning they never identified as being a part of this organization. These men dressed in long white robes and wore hoods to cover their faces, hiding their identity. They rode on horseback at night, allowing the dark to keep them hidden as well. The KKK did not need a mass audience. They worked locally in their towns to make a name of themselves there. These small groups could do night raids to make themselves known, but they were more interested in local media in the areas they were operating in. Moving on to the 1920s, the silent film The Birth of a Nation kick-started the re-emergence of the KKK. The Birth of a Nation popularized the Ku Klux Klan by portraying the organization as a heroic force to the unintelligent and sexually aggressive black men, played by white actors in blackface. As the book states, this is when the KKK re-emerged stronger than ever, with an estimation of about 5 million people involved in the membership here. Now, these men were still silent about their membership within this organization because they wanted to keep up their respectable lives outside of the organization while still being a part of this clan. Typically, these members were white Protestant middle-class men claiming to be vigilantes restoring justice by using intimidation tactics, threatening violence, and using their white hoods to mask their identities while terrorizing individuals throughout the night. Now, because of all this violence and anonymity surrounding the KKK, a lot of people wanted anti-masking laws in their states, and this became a really big fight. From the 1920s into the Civil Rights Movement from the 1960s, 18 states have anti-masking laws that make it a crime to wear a mask in public. Most laws were passed between 1920 and 1970 in reaction to the waves of violence perpetrated by the Klan at that time. According to Southern Poverty Law Center, public officials argued that the laws were needed to protect the public from Klan intimidation and violence, and that banning masks would aid law enforcement in identifying criminals. However, the Ku Klux Klan saw a different way. Imperial Wizard at the time, Jeff Berry, stated in McIntyre v. Ohio Elections Commissions that anonymity is a shield from the tyranny of the majority. It thus exemplifies the purpose behind the Bill of Rights and of the First Amendment in particular, to protect unpopular individuals from retaliation and their ideas from suppression at the hand of an intolerant society. This statement explains why the KKK wants to remain anonymous and stresses the importance of the secrecy of the members within the organization. However, the KKK itself is a very highly recognized name, which is why they are able to win court cases and use those letters and that name associated with them because everybody knows what that is and what that means. Today they have P.O. boxes that you can write to, or websites that say who their leaders are and what they're doing and how to get involved. So they're really recruiting for new people and staying a highly recognized organization even though the members themselves may be silent. We have seen how an organization can still be so highly recognized, yet lurking in the shadows and working underground. Their members can be anonymous, and their statements can be targeted to smaller areas, yet the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, will always be a name that people will recognize for years to come.